here for this man right here. Welcome to the long-awaited culinary event, In Culinary Conversations. Thank you all for being here. Let's give it up for everybody at Vendor Row over here. Big Fork, my boy Lance. In Culinary is a network that cooks, and it also brings chefs together with brands for basically events like this, right? I mean, Basically what that means is that people like me get to interview guys like this, which is pretty freaking cool because I don't know how else that would happen, right? In Culinary is a community of vetted and proven chefs that is filtered for the ultimate culinary connections. And guys, give it up for Joanne McCartney, founder. Also founded by Morgan Fos. Morgan, we miss you, we love you, we hope you're doing well out in Florida. And basically what we're trying to do is curate the culture for future culinary generations to come. So it is my extreme pleasure and honor to welcome you to our very first live In Culinary experience. Let's let this chef give us his culinary journey, give us his story. Ladies and gentlemen, Chef Brian Jupiter. Give it up.
Thank you. Thank you.
Little bio, chef. Who are you? Where'd you come from?
Who am I? How y'all doing? I'm Chef Brian Jupiter, and I'm originally from New Orleans, born and raised, but I've been in Chicago now for quite some time. So I moved to Chicago in 2003, and I moved here to take a job. I went to culinary school in Florida, in Miami, and a chef that I worked for down there had an opportunity for me, and I figured, hey, why not get out of Florida? And I did want to test a bigger market. And so Chicago was on the radar, and as well as, the West Coast, and I chose to freeze up here in Chicago. But I love the city. I started cooking very young. I cooked with my grandmother a lot, and then I got a job in the kitchen when I was 15. And so, sorry, I knew that was going to happen.
It's okay, I'll get it.
Like, hello? All right. Well, I didn't see it turned off. There we go.
Technical difficulties.
All right, sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Hey, it's the first one. I started cooking young. I got a job working in the kitchen in New Orleans called Aurora Steakhouse when I was 15. A buddy of mine in high school, his parents were cool with the owners, and he knew that I used to cook all the time at home and for my brothers and all my friends and stuff after school. And so he said, hey, would you be interested in getting a job at this restaurant? And so I was like, yeah, why not, And so I'm like 15, 16 maybe. And I started working at Aurora Steakhouse, and I was a fry cook at this restaurant. And if you've ever been in New Orleans, we like to fry food, especially seafood. And so over at Aurora, we had all-you-can-eat fried catfish every Thursday, all right? And so it's very safe to say that I got welcomed into the weeds, as we call them in restaurants, at a very young age. And so I really learned a lot. I loved it, for one, because kitchens can be very vulgar. Kitchens can be very high stress, but the reward at the end of it is worth it. At least it seems like it to all of us that continually stick in this profession. But we absolutely love the chaos, right? And I had two cooks side by side to me. One guy was Brandon. The other guy's name was Greg. And so Greg was like the kitchen manager. He was like a middle-aged white guy. Brandon was a really big black guy. Looked like he could play for the Saints every Sunday. And he worked the grill station. And the grill was massive, and just watching him, in this organized chaos really made me want more, right? And so I worked there for a bit and started looking for culinary schools. And so I found Johnson & Wales down in Miami and decided to go there. I worked at a bunch of places down in Florida before moving to Chicago. But the goal for me was to always open my own business. My grandmother had a flower shop business for over 50 years down in New Orleans. And so I grew up in a family business. And so, I saw the grind. I saw the dedication that it took day in and day out to try to build that business. But working in Chicago, I was at a place called Narcisse. That was the very first place I moved to Chicago. And it was a champagne and caviar salon. And the chef that moved me here, he got a little taste of Chicago's winter, and he was like, yo, I'm out, right? And so I was 23-ish at the time, and the owners of the restaurant didn't know a whole lot about me. He was the one that brought me, he vouched for me, and everything. And so when he left, they started looking for another chef. And I'm like, I didn't come to Chicago to go and work for some chef that I don't even know. And so we might not mesh, it might not be the style that I'm trying to do or whatever, yada, yada. And so I'm like, give me the job, right? And so the guys, they had no idea how old I was. I don't even think they looked at my resume, to be honest with you, And so, they're like, oh, yeah, we don't know, we're going to look around and see. But it was a general manager that I'm still friends with to this day, but he went to bat for me and convinced those guys to give me a shot. And I've never had a job other than an executive chef since then. And so, you're not always ready for the opportunity, but I think that, this craft, it requires a lot of dedication, and I've worked very hard. And so when those opportunities came, I was like, yo, I ain't gonna let this shit slide. People in the Midwest don't always like grits. So I've taken upon myself to convince people that grits are from God. And so we use coarse-ground grits. And so the grit is the reason why people don't like grits, right? Because if you just do instant grits, and I grew up on instant grits, right? I still eat them every once in a while. But it's a big difference, right? Like, these are very fresh. They're very coarse. We get them from Anson Mills. There's some other mills that you get them from as well, but we've just been using Anson for probably 20 years now. But I call them, they mill, they ship, right? And so it's not like sitting on a shelf at Mariano's for 18 years.
Right.
It's a big difference, right? Because you can even smell the corn, right? Like when you open the bag of these grits. They're very expensive, but no one's talking about that part.
Hey, but if they're worth it, right? I mean, it's all about the
They
quality.
are. It's just, it's a brutal pill to swallow every time you place it.
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
We go through a lot of grits,
Yeah.
and so,
You hope
we
nobody's
order
burning them,
like
right?
we order like 1,200 pounds at a time, and so it gets hefty.
Oh, wow.
And so, but there's yellow grits, and there's white grits. Yellow grits, obviously, the yellow shell is still on the corn when it's dried. White, we need to take it off and then mill it. I like coarse ground because you still have some texture, but the coarser the grind, the longer the time it's going to take to cook. So we start with water, but we also add some cream. And so we use heavy cream. Can you use milk? Yes. Is it going to be as good? No. But about half and half, right? If you did only milk or only cream, your grits are never gonna cook. You need the water, all right? And so from this point, we come up to a boil. Also, butter.
Now, Chef, it looks like you got about 23 pounds of butter there.
Listen, I just keep this in my trunk.
I love it.
Yeah, that's why I hate summertime.
I love it.
That's why I moved to Chicago, so I keep butter in my trunk.
Yep.
You know,
You gotta have it. It's a chef secret, everybody.
Yeah. So we're just gonna add a little bit. Y'all, if you're on a diet, close your eyes.
So, I'm sorry, is it half water and half cream?
No, this was more like 3 to 2. Water to cream.
Okay. A little bit of butter. Fat equals flavor, yeah.
Yes. Salt. Yo, if y'all have, oh, this is sea salt. Now if I talk shit about that, iodized. It took me a long time to convince my mom to stop using iodized salt. And I think that she still does it sometimes. and acts like she forgot I told her.
So let's
Yeah.
talk about shrimp. So New Orleans, shrimp's a big,
Shrimp are huge.
big deal, right?
Yep.
So let's talk about the shrimp you're using at
Yes.
the restaurant. Does it matter? Is it a
Yes,
Gulf
it
shrimp?
does.
Is it a red shrimp? What do we?
Yeah. We use Gulf shrimp mainly, like as much as we possibly can. But it's not always Gulf like New Orleans Gulf because it's really hard
Yep.
to get shrimp from right there because it's consumed in the Gulf states, and so we're getting more Gulf like Mexico side,
Yep.
Gulf, Ecuador side, and so it's still sweet, but it's not the same flavor as that like right in that southern border.
Yeah.
Because even the shrimp in Florida, are different. Like they're really good, but they're different, right? And then you get down by the Keys and stuff, and they get real pink and stuff like that. But the shrimp in New Orleans are just different, right? That
for
brown
sure.
shrimp, I mean, it's something else. And so what's crazy is that, and you can still do this in New Orleans. You can buy shrimp like on the side of the road, right? And like literally a pickup truck with ice chests in the back. But my grandmother had the flower shop, right? And so she would get everybody coming through selling stuff, right? And so she had the shrimp man. Like before Uber was a thing, she had the shrimp man coming to deliver, like as soon as she called, right? And so, he would pull up and you talking about, beautiful shrimp, caught that morning, and they're like $3 a pound. Like it was so cheap,
Yeah, those days are long gone, my friend.
Very much so.
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah,
No,
but
you're
golf,
right, yeah.
I try to stay golf. When you start getting with more of the imported stuff, it's manipulated a lot. Yeah.
I also don't think a lot of people realize that, restaurants run on a very thin margin.
Very thin.
It's not, people are like, Jupe's got 3 places. He's,
He's killing it.
yeah, he's killing it. Yeah, killing
Yeah.
himself, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's tough, but it's a lot that I love about this. Like I still don't want to do anything else. I think we're going through a tough stretch. But I think that the industry needed a reset anyway. I think there was a lot of things in the industry that was not being done the right way. And so it needed a reset. Right? Culinary schools were at the top of the problem, right? Because culinary schools, and I went to culinary school or whatever, but the problem with culinary schools is that you got so deep into debt, you're 65, 75 grand in debt, and they're telling you, at least this is what the message used to be, was that, like you have a chance to pay that back like right away or whatever. And
You do
at
not.
the time,
You
cooks
not.
were making, minimum wage, and so like you get out, you're not good, you're not even good, right? And so like you can't even like go out demanding too much money, right? And you got this big old burden, right? And I feel like the best cooks, best chefs are always the ones that just work their way up from the bottom. And nowadays, I think that a lot of people have figured it out, right? I can go and work in the kitchen and work hard. I can pick whatever kitchen I want to pick, first of all. And then I go work hard and I get my opportunities, right?
Sure.
I don't have to go and spend the money, and I don't even know what my diploma is. No one has ever asked me for it.
Ditto.
Like I don't even
tell
know
people
what
that
thing
all
is.
the time. I'm like, never
I'm
once
like-
have I need to be
I'm
like,
like-
here you go.
I'm like Hurricane Katrina ate that thing somewhere because I know my mama had it
You
somewhere.
got that excuse.
My
Yeah,
mama had it somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
It's with all my baby teeth in a box somewhere. You know what I mean?
New Orleans food was always built like that, and I love it. New Orleans food's changing though. It's different down there now.
How so?
Oh, I know. That's what I was scared of.
Oh, we lost it.
How's New Orleans changed? New Orleans lost the culture. All right. You look at cities and you look at gentrification in cities, and it's a process. It takes a lot of time. Katrina was basically overnight gentrification because the people that left, by the time they came back, they was like, nah, this ain't for you no more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, but now you're really starting to be able to tell, right? Because a lot of people, I mean, I moved from New Orleans when I was 18 years old. But the accents are not you don't have as many down there, you know. In the neighborhoods, too, is where you would really always have it. And so, like, yeah, it's just different. You do get some cool stuff, like it's some cool, you know, some folks that's some transplants down there that's, you know, doing different renditions of New Orleans food.
Sure.
Or taking those ingredients and, you know, like, so I truly love that. But you're missing some of the core. Mm-hmm. That culture.
Yeah, some of that soul that kind of used to be there, yeah.
Like my mom bought a house in Baton Rouge, and she was like, I'm not going back to living in New Orleans. You know, it's close, but she's like, I'm not going back.
She's like, I'm not going back there.
Mm-hmm. When I was, this was before I started working in a restaurant down there. My grandmother took me to a culinary class, a cooking school. It was called New Orleans School of Cooking, and it was just like one of them kind of like touristy spots, you know. But we made, it was like an all-day thing. Like you made gumbo, you made bread pudding, and you made red beans and rice. All right, and so the chef instructor was Chef Elliot Roussel. And Elliot Roussel, at the time, he was the executive chef of Brennan's restaurant. Brennan's restaurant in New Orleans is legendary, right? It's known all across the world, right? And so Elliot Roussel started at Brennan's as a dishwasher. And he worked his way all the way up to the executive chef. And at that time, I was insane. He was a black man, too. And so he was one. I actually tried to work for him once, but he was like the cooks at Brennan's. He said his shortest tenured cook at Brennan's at the time had been there for like 19 years. And so he's like, people don't leave, man. You know,
it's true.
You know,
wow.
You know, and so. You know, but New Orleans is like that, right? New Orleans that's where hospitality is born in New Orleans.
Absolutely.
Right? People still have pride, or had a lot of pride in working in this industry. From the busboy to the chef to the maitre d', you know, it was like true pride. You know, and that's lacking a lot now. Not just there, just everywhere. You know. Hospitality. The very first time I was on TV was for Fox News. It was not Fox News, for like an actual show was on Fox, and it was Anthony Bourdain's The Taste.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't make the cut, but I made it on. Like I got to go there, and I got to go in there to get cut. Right. And
okay.
So,
Yeah.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like
hey, it's better than nothing.
Hey,
all right.
Let me tell you how you get it, right?
Leave this poor guy alone.
Like, so,
that's pretty badass, though.
Still,
people don't understand that's a big feat to do that, right? Yeah.
Like,
it's cool.
First time in LA and stuff. Hey, I'll go in there and get cut.
I know the feeling, man. Trust me.
That was the first one, and then I've done a few with the Food Network. Some that stuck and some that didn't. I did Bite Club. That was Tyler Florence. I did Guys Grocery Games. I did Chopped. I've done a bunch of stuff on the A&E channel.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I've done a few of those. Those weren't competitions. Like I have something coming out on A&E. I forget when it's coming out, but it's soon. With the Cake Boss.
Oh, nice.
Buddy.
Yeah.
He was cool as hell. You know, you just never know with people, you know. Like, but yeah, Buddy was cool as hell. But yeah, so that's coming out on A&E. Yeah, I've done a little something. I do like it. I think the biggest challenge is getting used to the cameras, right? Because they're everywhere, you know. And so once you, they'd be like everywhere. Like the first time I was kind of like, yo. And when I did the taste, this is a crazy story, right? And so we're all walking, and this set is massive, right? And so we're walking through or whatever, and No bullshit. No bullcrap. Two people in front of me, right? One of the contestants, she falls like down this like look like a hatch. I didn't know there was a trap door or something. And so like she falls, and it was like levels to the stage, right? And she falls, and everybody's like, you know. And so they had to like climb down there and get this lady or whatever, man. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, bro, it was wild. Yeah.
Jimmy, you forgot to shut the trap door.
I was like, hey, one down.
Yeah, one down.
Haven't cut me yet.
Hers is on the floor. I'm next. Oh, that's fantastic. I like that attitude. That's a winner's attitude right there.
Guys' grocery game was fun, but I'm not a fan of the shows that where it's something like weird that like some weird little thing that takes away from the cooking part of it.
Oh, God,
right?
agreed.
Yes. And so like I'm like, okay, like let's cook or whatever, but then I'll be like, hey, you can only use a tongue that's this big now, right? And then you have you on TV looking like a fool, like,
yeah.
And so like I try to stay away from that stuff. But the Guys Grocery Game episode was tiny carts.
Okay.
Right? And so, you know, the kid cart, you know, little kid, and so like I'm literally like this with a little kid cart. And at first, when I first saw it, I'm like, that's no sweat because I'm just gonna pick the thing up.
Yeah, right.
I'm just gonna hold it like this or whatever
Sure.
and just fill my basket. And it was like, oh yeah, one more thing. It has to stay on the floor. I was like, oh damn. You know, so they had my big self running all around.
I did not think Flavor Town was like that all the time. But apparently it is.
Yeah. But not Bobby Flay. They always ask me to do a Bobby Flay thing. I'm just not a Bobby Flay fan. And it's no money. I'm like, what I'm doing this for? I'm like, bragging rights. Like, man, get out of here.
That's how the Food Network is.
Yeah.
That's how that Food Network is.
That's the first thing I asked them. I was like, what's the cash prize? All right. I'm motivated differently.
That's
all
right.
And so,
I cook better when there's money on the line.
you know, and they're like, oh, well, no, it's no cash prize. I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. Because you know what's the biggest pain in the butt is the process, right? Like, you know, you got to send them all these videos and you got to do like all this stuff, you know, and then they're like, you know, we decided to go with another contestant. Yeah. And I was like, bro, get out of here. You know?
What's next? What's next for you, Chef? I mean, you told me a little bit about Jupe Soup, Jupe's Coop, right? So you got some ghost kitchens going on. What do you got?
Right now.
What do you got going?
Right now.
What's a 5-year plan?
Oh man, that's too far. That's too far. We live in a social media world, man. Like things change a lot faster now.
For sure.
You know, I don't know. I want to do more. I want to do a couple restaurant concepts, but I don't know where I want to do them. And what's funny about both of my concepts is that Frontier, that whole concept, it was built off of the way the place looked. Right, because like I said, when I first was meeting with my now partner, it was for the INMA concept. The Frontier building came up first, and I didn't like it for INMA because it doesn't look like it could be in New Orleans. Whereas the space that INMA is in now was a bar, you know, for over 20 years. It was a dive bar for over 20 years, so it got beat up. You know, and you needed that to make it really feel like something out of New Orleans. You also needed to be on a corner. And so that was very important for that particular concept. Frontier, you know, I think I liked the way the building looked, the interior, very high ceilings, a lot of brick, a lot of wood. It looked like something out of the Mountain West, you know, and so that's where the whole like that Frontier thing started to come about. But yeah, I really like to see the space before I talk about what I'm about to put in it, because I think it matters.